Now, with a caveat, and the caveat is this. When you're in the middle of chaos and you've got somebody who's literally grabbed into your power center and has a hold of your energy, are you going to be capable of getting real answers? Because doesn't dowsing in any vibrational form of therapy rely on us being fully present? That's how we get our true answers. And so this is going to be one of the consequences of dealing with chaos, is that we're going to be off our centers. We're going to not be fully present all the time in order to be able to determine immediately that we're dealing with a vibrationally dissonant situation in our lives. And we can get all flustered about that, or we can at least have a trigger in our brain that says, I'm not all here. And that's okay, but what am I doing? That's when you sit down. That's when you take your deep breath. And that's when we go to the next tool and we say, where's my faith and where's my trust? My faith is a subconscious event. Faith becomes that feeling that you don't have words to describe. You just know that you're going to be okay. And the reason that we would begin to doubt that faith, that is our bedrock, is because our trust comes from what we're seeing all around us. Do I trust the situation? Do I trust my eyes that I'm really taken care of? Because right now, my life's going to hell in a handbasket. So what am I going to do with that? What gets us through? I had a client that I was coaching through what was going to be a very nasty divorce, and it took probably a good 18 months to get him to the point of accepting that he was going to go through this divorce. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the key to his healing process occurred when he came to me one day and he said, I don't know why, but I'm ready to jump off the cliff. I don't know why, but I'm okay with it. I'm ready to jump. That was faith in action. He didn't trust any of it. I mean, his wife was going to go to town all over him. He knew he was going to lose his kids. He knew that he was going to have to move out of the house. I mean, all of these things. He was losing his job on top of all of that. Everything looked horrible. And he was ready to jump off the cliff. Faith and trust. What we love about chaos, and one of the keys to dealing with it again, is it doesn't look good. It looks awful. And because we're pulled off our centers, we get to be human. We get to experience our shadow side. And you know what? As much as we as spiritual beings don't like to address our shadow side, it's part of that being human thing. It's part of that side of us that we came here to experience. And so in that process of going through chaos, we get to explore a part of ourselves that we may not necessarily like. We get to explore a part of ourselves that needs healing. We get to explore a part of ourselves that may be ugly, but serves us. I may not like how I get angry at a particular situation, or how I responded to a particular situation. But that's the shadow side of me coming out and showing me that, you know what, there is a different way to react to this, and it might be okay. One of the best examples I have for that is when I'm coaching people through how to mediate relationship discussions, we won't call them arguments, and getting people to realize that when they're at a point when they recognize that they haven't really been speaking their truth, they haven't really been saying what they need to say in a particular interaction, they will get to a point where I will have to say to them, you have to get angry. You have to allow that part of you to come up and come out, because it's that part of you that needs to express right now. And the more that you keep that part of you down, it's just going to come out in lots of other different ways that will not be healthy. And when they feel that they have validation, that they've done enough, and that that anger, that negative reaction is going to come from a place of love, then they figure out that they can trust that when that happens, that when they finally do get angry, that they're not going to go off the deep end. They're not going to throw things. They're not going to be hurt in some way, that they're not going to hurt the other person, which is always the big fear, which is why we keep that anger to ourselves, is we're afraid we're going to hurt the other person. All of that goes away, because when we're grounded and we understand that we are all one being, that we're all in that consciousness together, and that what we're doing is helping each other to experience being human, then I'm coming from a place of love and honoring both myself and that other person in the interaction. And I can allow that quote-unquote negative energy, that judgment, to come up, and I can allow that to express. And so that is one of the beautiful things that comes out of chaos, is allowing ourselves to have that experience with the shadow. And that becomes so important. And I really do feel that one of the things that occurs on our spiritual paths and a lot of different spiritual journeys is that we have a tendency to ignore that shadow side of us and not address it, that we want everything to be sweetness and light. And well, you know what? If it were all sweetness and light, we'd all be angels. So we're not. And that's okay, because I kind of like where I am right now. So these are some of the tools that I've discussed in Transformation of Evil.